Njye nkiri mutoya hari igihe numvaga ko umukobwa ari icyaha. Noneho umugore yakoraga iby'umugabo amutegetse.
To be a man means you are commanding authority and you make the decisions and all.
Imyumvire y'icyo gihe nishingirwa hariho ibintu byo kuvuga ngo iyo byaye umwana w'umukobwa bikunze kugenda bisenya ingo.
Okay, I'm talking about a society where women walk in fear because they think they are going to be the next victims of sexual violence. And I started to ask myself questions. What does it really mean to be a man?
Tereza bimfashijemo uwo twashakanye yakunze kubona amahugurwa bituma aranyerekaga icyerekezo cyiza avuga ati hano ubuzima turimo bushaka gutera imbere.
Maybe it's time we redefine what it really means to be a man.
MenEngage Africa is part of the Global MenEngage Alliance, and it's a network of organizations, civil society, UN agencies, grassroots organizations that seek to promote gender justice through engaging men and boys and challenging patriarchy and harmful social norms.
You need to address patriarchy because men continue to be decision makers on women's bodies, and so engaging men becomes a key strategy to, one, hold them accountable, but also recognizing that men are very diverse. You have men who are fathers, you have men as partners to women, and men have their own needs that are gendered. And so we work as MenEngage Africa on these issues, recognizing that the feminist agenda remains a strong force, and we need to come to the table as well.
For the longest time, the women's movement has been working to promote women's rights and seek gender equality. And our movement as MenEngage is working for the same goal. But I think it's important for us to synergize our efforts with the women's movement because we are all heading for the same goal, women's rights.
If men are the perpetrators of gender-based violence, if men are the obstacle to women's empowerment, women accessing their human rights, then it makes absolute sense that we must engage men to end the violence and to increase men's support for gender equality. So it becomes really important to help men understand that women's rights don't come at men's expense, that in fact, in a world where there's greater gender equality, everyone is better off.
Why we have joined the network of MenEngage is because they bring something unique in the programming, how to engage men in our programming, especially in promoting access to justice, promoting sexual reproductive health rights, in issues of abolition of child marriage, and then prevention of gender-based violence and sexual gender-based violence in our community.
When leaders are not heard, when their ideas are not known, when their solidarity is not seen, perpetrators actually think that it is okay to do what they do because no one in authority takes issue with them. The visibility, the loud voices of leaders is critical in this fight.
Our approach has been to gradually do this work with traditional leaders, with a view finally to make them to come around and see things the way we see them. But for me, and I want to caution, is not to be prescriptive. but to be descriptive of what we want to achieve.
The engagement of traditional leaders and religious leaders on these issues is critical. As we know, these are very powerful institutions in society, enjoying lots of respect from communities, and therefore are seen and listened to by many people. And when we get them engaged on these issues, I think we can get far. Because once you get a traditional leader to play a progressive role with regards to gender transformation, it has a reverberating effect on society. For instance, a woman chief in Malawi took up the issue of ending child marriages. And she was very forthright. She decreed that child marriages is not allowed in the community where she is, and communities have welcomed that. And now many traditional leaders are drawing from that experience, and we're seeing more and more traditional leaders willing to engage with this.
The MenEngage Training Initiative, which is abbreviated as MATI, aim is to build a dynamic, vocal, and visible network of leaders and gender justice advocates that drive the human rights and gender justice agenda in Africa. MATI's main aim is to create a pool of experts that can help strengthen a strong focus of engaging men and boys for gender equality. MenEngage Training Initiative was started off by Sonke Gender Justice in the year 2012, and to date we have trained over 135 gender justice advocates from around the continent.
In Uganda, the research that came out in 2016 shows that the men who believe in beating their wives had reduced from 64% to 41% in 2016. So we're slowly by slowly. It's not easy to dismantle patriarchy. You have to move slowly.
We're going to focus on a number of key campaigns. We're going to focus on a campaign to increase men's involvement in addressing female genital mutilation. We will also be working with UNAIDS and some of our key international partners to make sure that the response to HIV across the continent adequately addresses the importance of engaging men. So we want to make sure that services are rolled out to engage men, and that gender transformative programs reach men and decrease men's use of violence, increase men's support for women's rights, so as to decrease women's vulnerabilities to HIV.
For me, it's about working with men to understand to the core how they treat women, how they see women, and how they then socialize each other as men, how they socialize sons. And I think for me, if we can get that right, so every day for me is about calling out, practices that really do not speak to gender equality.
If we work with men at the forefront with us, we can achieve much, much better than what we can achieve as women only.